Hi there, Diane here, the Cleaning Business Coach, and it's just a quick video about terms and conditions between you and your clients. So it's really important that you have terms and conditions because it sets the boundaries within which you can both provide the service and how your clients can use the service. So I'm going to set out in this video just a quick guide as to things that you might want to include in your terms and conditions. So the first thing, of course, and most importantly, is what service have you agreed to provide? So if you're going to a client, say 3 hours every fortnight to provide domestic cleaning, you kind of need to set out a bit of a guide as to what you're going to be delivering in that time. So for instance, we would work to a priority list. So we would always say to the client, okay, so what are your most important rooms? And they're always at the top of the list. And then if we run out of time, we don't run out of time on the lower importance rooms, such as studies or conservatories or guest rooms. But we started at the top of the list when it's usually kitchen and bathrooms and main living areas. So make it really clear in your terms and conditions when you're setting up a client in their client's agreement what service you've agreed to provide and when, for how much and for how long, etc., etc. Make sure it's really clear. Also, do you offer any kind of guarantee? So if your client's not happy with the service for whatever reason, what do you do about providing a guarantee, and how long do they have to exercise that guarantee? Because obviously if you cleaned for somebody 2 weeks ago and then they give you a call to say they weren't happy, it's very difficult for you to offer any kind of guarantee on that because too much time has passed. So set it out in your terms and conditions what your expectations are and what their expectations should be of you in terms of guaranteeing your service. Also, do you have a cancellation policy? I get asked about this a lot, and I say absolutely you should have a cancellation policy in your contract and your terms and conditions. However, use it with caution, because if you think of a scenario where a client has cancelled with less than, say, 48 hours notice and you've charged them in full, and then perhaps what happens when you have a member of your team calling sick, or you're sick yourself and you then can't deliver the service? What happens to the relationship with the client then? Because you've enforced something with them when maybe their child was sick. Now what happens when the shoe is on the other foot, so to speak? So don't ignore a cancellation policy, but I would just say use them with caution, i.e. enforce them with caution. Our cancellation policy in our business is that if they cancel on the day of the clean, then we reserve the right to charge the full charge for their clean. And we say reserve the right because actually sometimes we don't need to charge them the full price of their clean because we've got plenty of other work for the team. However, we do have the right to do so. But if they cancel the day before, we don't mind. We don't implement any kind of cancellation policy. You need to choose what's right for your business, but as I said, use with caution. The other thing that should be in your terms and conditions is how they communicate with you. So what can they expect in terms of, what are the correct telephone numbers, email addresses, etc., how they can get a message to you. So, we don't like to communicate too much by text message with our clients because they can often end up outside of office hours. So we have a 24/7 answering service where our clients can ring at any time. But undoubtedly, they also send text messages. So it's just a case of you deciding what your preferred communication methods are that are going to work for you and your business, and as it grows, of course. And the other thing that should be in terms of your terms and conditions is about taking on your cleaner. It's very common in our industry for clients to approach cleaning team members and ask them to work for them outside of your business. So you need to kind of try and protect yourself in your terms and conditions and make it very clear what will happen if your client were to take on your cleaner. And we have in our terms and conditions, you love your cleaner, we love them too. And, obviously approaching our cleaners to work privately would be a breach of our terms and conditions and incur a charge. So you need to put that in your terms and conditions. How long is the contract for? What's the term of the contract? Is it for a set period of time? Most domestic contracts are quite open-ended, but sometimes they're for a particular period of time. So you need to have that in your terms and conditions. And what's the notice for terminating the contract? Whether that's 2 weeks, a month, however long it needs to be for you to rearrange things, you need to put some kind of notice period in there. You have to be a bit careful of consumer law. You can't tie people in for too long, but you do want to have a notice period so that you've got a bit of protection as a business. Also, complaints procedure. So if there is a problem, how do they tell you? So if you've got a guarantee in place, or if you haven't got a guarantee in place, they need to know that they can get in contact with you if there's a problem. So how does that work? Make sure that's clearly outlined in your complaints procedure. And of course, in order to meet your obligations under GDPR, you need to have a privacy policy. Why not put that in with your terms and conditions so it's very clear what you are doing with the data that you hold on your customers? Because you do undoubtedly hold private data, personal information, so you have to be registered and you have to have a privacy policy. And then finally, payment terms. So how are they going to pay you? Whether that's the timescale that they need to pay you in or the method that they're going to use. You need to make sure that's really clear in your terms and conditions, because ultimately, you know, you're in business to make money, and if your clients don't pay you, you're just a charity. So you need to make sure that these are clear in your terms and conditions. Hope that's been useful. If you want a coaching session on putting together your terms and conditions, managing client expectations, anything that you want really, then feel free to book into a 30-minute free coaching session and try it out and see if you like it. So hopefully see you soon. Bye-bye.